Okay, got it. Jim Blanc, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, everybody.
Hello there. So you have been 12 years in our club. What do you think about that?
Well, I miss you guys a lot. And I love you all. And I hope I can come back and see you in person soon.
We hope to see you soon too. Good to see you. Glad you're there. And hope you had a lovely Valentine's Day or are still celebrating.
I did.
Yay. Okay, Sarah has completed. Please stand, Sarah, and get a mic. Sarah, you have completed your season as captain of Annalee High School varsity soccer team. And that's pretty amazing considering you're actually 16 and just pretending to be a senior, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
I guess you can say that.
And did you make it into any sort of finals? Are we going to get to watch you guys in the future?
No finals. So unfortunately, we didn't make it through playoffs. But no, it's been a great season and it's been really fun and I really enjoyed it. So it's been great.
And what are you going to do next? Do you have another sport in mind?
I'm going to keep playing soccer for a little bit. There's club soccer starting soon, Wesco, which is with almost the same teammates as I have right now. We just keep going and it's like not as serious, so a little bit more just fun and weekend games and stuff. Yeah, so I'm super excited for that, just to kind of keep going.
Well done. Yeah, nicely done there. Hold on a second. I'm going to ask you to come up and join me here at the podium. And because we've got some pins. And hold on, I want to advance them. So, oh, by the way, this is you with your team taken from a distance, but there it is. And now, read this, guys. Sarah's post-school Rotary Youth Exchange Western Safari Tour is fully funded through the generosity. So, following people, please come on up or stand up, whatever you like. I don't think Brian Purcell's with us. Let's don't forget him. Michael Fells also not here. Bob Kieser's here though, right over there. Bob Kieser, you get a pin and thank you very much for your contribution. Dan Needham, right next to him.
Thank you.
Diana Curtis is in the Zoom audience. She gets her hug later.
Thank you.
Jim and Linda. Back in the back. Yay, thank you, folks. Bill Sauber. Bill Sauber here. There he is. Bill Sauber is next. And Michael McLaughlin. President-elect Kathy Rogers is in the Zoom audience. So Kathy, you'll get your pin and a hug in a little while. BJ and Ellie.
Yes, indeed. Worth the money. Well done.
Lori, darling,
I will do that. Thank you. Very good.
this is a workout, isn't it?
Oh, it's a Viking pin. I'll put that on.
Yeah. Jerry Mechelin. And Marnie. Thank you to everybody who made that pledge. When all the pledges and the money are in, we are set to rock and roll. Good going. Yay. And good on you to inspire people to want to help you out with any pleasure. Would you like to say a few words?
I just want to say thank you guys so much. It really means a lot. It's been an awesome few months and I really enjoy going to the meetings here every Wednesday. It's a great start of the morning, a great start of the week. I really appreciate you guys. You're really like a bunch of awesome people and that means a lot. Sorry.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, look at this. We got some Rotarians in the making. Captain Rogers, are you looking at this? Get that name, take this picture. So what's going on in there? You haven't seen that level.
Jim and I get to watch Jameson every Tuesday and he likes hats and he always picks out one of Nana's hats. And that's the hat you gave me, David, at your debunking. And so I just had to get a picture of our future Rotarian.
I think it suits him. He looks good.
Yeah.
Bring him in.
Nice catch. Thank you.
And Jerry. Taking pictures of bobcats. Please do not bring a bobcat here. They're gonna take the bacon and we're not gonna stop them.
I'm gonna keep them away from Scott's chicken house too. But yeah, they're crawling all over Point Reyes. If you want to see some bobcats, head out to Point Reyes.
Cool.
Very nice.
I hear the elephant seals were out in town.
Yes, yeah, at Drake's Beach, yeah. And lots of activity. They call it the Serengeti of California. A lot of wildlife at Point Reyes, and then now's the time of year to see it all. It's good. It's a lot of birds, yeah.
The Serengeti of California. They've got a good publicist. So, Marty, could this possibly be true that winter comes before the fall?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's me.
yeah, that's you. Do you fall anymore?
Knock on wood, I have not fallen this year.
That's
I've
what
been over 10 days, so.
How is it? Are you still doing the black diamond stuff?
Well, I do the black diamond stuff.
Oh.
I do, what I do not do is, ski powder.
Ah, is that right? Good idea.
I have a heart attack. I do carry nitroglycerin with me, but I haven't had to use it.
Wow, well, good on you to be doing that. I have been up at North Star and seen Marty take off. And I just watched him go down there and said, I think I'll take the slow train. That's amazing that you ski like that and wonderful that you ski like that. And I hope you don't fall. There was no.
I actually talked to a gentleman up there who was written about in the local paper. He's a dentist. He's 90 years old and he still skis every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So more power to him.
Absolutely. How about that? Okay, there was a Super Bowl party down here. And who's going to talk about that? I think you should.
So thank you to everyone who participated. The potluck was awesome. Everybody brought their favorite Sloppy Joe recipe and we're testing them for our upcoming festivals, fundraisers. And that was a lot of fun. We put it out to old friends. Past President Matt Whitteman came. Our halftime show. Bill, you want to talk about our halftime show? There were no cartwheels.
And no injuries that went with those cartwheels. So Summer Morris showed up, former member, and with her husband. And I had found when I inherited the package of Paul Harris stuff from that. Thank you. That Summer had been Summer's pin and Paul Harris Award had been mailed to the club, but it was just after she had left. And so she never got her Paul Harris, so we called her up and did a Paul Harris presentation, had her husband come up and give her. So it was great fun and a real honor to be able to do that for her, and I think she really appreciated it.
So I just love to remind everybody, our Fun and Games is a great opportunity to bring potential members, old friends. So please invite every chance you get. The football pool was a little controversial. The first and second quarters were won by two of the Sin-K boys. However, for my test, I actually filmed myself pulling the numbers, so I have backup there. And then Anna Booker won the third quarter. I don't know if you're on the Zoom, Anna, but thank you for playing. And then let's see. Oh, Diana Curtis bought the last three squares. I was trying to fill that board. And she called me to tell me she wouldn't be coming. And I said, well, do you want to buy the last three squares? Which she did. And guess what happened, Diana? You won the grand prize. You won the congratulations. And thank you for playing. And then I guess I'll just end with a reminder. I believe First Friday is going to be at Hip Pizzazz, and Wine Country Star Party is bringing the telescopes. So put that on the calendar, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for putting that together. Lovely to have a social and see people get together. There we go. We had winners. There was a morning hike. Annandale. Was it good? Was it cold? Glad you made it. And glad you made it back. So, we've all received the email about the upcoming Together Again for Telemedicine, a project that started here in our club and has gone worldwide. A fabulous work and always in need of support and deserving support. So if you don't have your tickets, get them soon. March 4th is right around the corner. It's over at Boleto Vineyards. There's going to be a lot of good stuff and things to buy and things to drink, and a good time will be had by all, no doubt. Announcements. Wayne, you've got an announcement. Give that boy a mic.
So I brought a little bit of sunshine back there on the table, if you can see that. These are daffodils from the students at Lupin High School that they do. And we're selling them to raise money for their garden group, and they're $10 each. And if you twist my arm, I'll plant them, but you don't have to plant them. You can just leave them in the pots. Now, one thing good about daffodils is they come back every year. And in fact, they divide. So, and gophers don't like them. They're toxic to gophers. So if you amortize the cost over 10 years, you know, they're so that's a heck of a deal. And the fact that they divide, you know, pretty soon they're free. So I've got a bunch of them. We got 30 that we grew over at the school. So if anyone wants one, let me know and we can work it out. And I could even plant them for you if you want. So,
Oh, nice. So we leave them in the pot while they're flowering, and then after they fade, we put them in the ground.
you have to let them die back. Because that feeds the rest of the greenery, feeds the roots so that, or feeds the bulbs so that they'll be ready for next year. So,
All right. Thank you very much. What a wonderful thing.
and one more thing, whoever does the drawing today, I'm gonna give them a free.
Whoa, right over there and get your drawing tickets. An attitude of gratitude. Who has gratitude? Sarah.
I would like to show my attitude for gratitude for all of you guys. You guys mean so much to me. Thank you.
And by the way, notice, is she still there?
Ooh.
Susan Mark Raymond was there for a little while. I think she was just checking to make sure I really came here.
I just want to express my gratitude to Joe. Joe's helped me out with a few big projects in the past, and he helped me out with another one this weekend or so ago. So really appreciate it, Joe. And I'll make a donation to the Rotary Foundation to acknowledge that kindness. Thank you.
Well, to keep the Gazdowitz love going, I just want to say how grateful I am to Patty Gazdowitz, who always shows up and helps me at all these parties. She's just a gem, and I'm grateful for Patty too. Thank you.
Well, just to add on to the grandson visit, I'm grateful that he didn't wind up flushing the towel down the toilet yesterday.
And a couple of weeks ago, I announced my niece in Hawaii on Christmas told us she was preggers. And last night was the reveal, so I'm going to be a grantee to a little boy. And the dad's name is Bo, and they're gonna name this kid Arrow. So it's gonna be Bo and Arrow.
So is that
Generation.
wow? I've got to say that I'm now 71 years old and I've never heard a thing like that. Bow and arrow. How about that? Well, how we doing? Move on to upcoming events. Check this out. You received an email yesterday at the request of President-elect Kathy and President Diana. There's going to be a Lakeport meeting today at noon. Just pop in, tune in, watch. It's about membership engagement and building membership, which is of interest to all of us, is it not? Then, whoa, come back here. High school cleanup is this Saturday. Anything special we need to know?
Nope, show up at 9:30, bring gloves and protective clothing, and we'll have all the rest. This is the
9:30. What?
Oh,
Yeah, high school parking lot, Annalee High School parking lot. Show up there, 9:30, be set to roll. Then our board meeting on Zoom, everybody is invited. And Redwood Empire Food Bank on Wednesday. We sign up by going to the club calendar. Just log in there, hit the link, and that'll bring you into the sign up.
People said they had trouble with that, so if you have trouble, let me know, or just go to the food bank site and sign up there.
So if you have trouble, get in touch with you, and very good. All right, thank
But
you.
you can just show up there and sign up there.
Yeah, so you can just go. Thank you for that. Well, that's good. And then we all know about telemedicine on Saturday, March 4th, and on Sunday, if you want to go whale watching, let me know. I made the reservations, and bring your friends, bring your family, bring somebody who would like to get to know us. Sarah will be there along with her family, and Ophelia, you coming? Yeah, hope so. Yeah, so anyway, that trip will be coming up, and some of the Ukrainian families are going to be there too.
Nice.
Yeah. Next week, Mary Munai from Good Works is going to be here.
Yes, spell.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman.
So would you be sure to raise your hand when she's speaking and point that out to her? I'm sure she'd like to know. So it was Valentine's Day yesterday. Do you believe in love at first sight? Do you believe that you can love animals like you love people? Maybe some better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, Jim. Got a question for you. He needs a mic. So here's the question. When you first met your beautiful bride, was it love at first sight, or did you have to get to know her?
I had to get to know her because she was 3 years younger. And where we first met was at the show. And she was probably about 8 or 9 years old. So I had to wait a few years before it was legal.
Oh. Well, glad to hear that you did that the right way. Oh, let's see, who else should we pick on? Marnie, I think it's your turn. You've got a lovely cat. Did I see a cat at your house?
Oh, but it's not mine, it's my upstairs.
So you don't love that cat?
I love it, sure, I've always
Yeah.
loved cats, and I saw, oh, the name is Pumpkin,
Pumpkin.
because it's orangey.
Oh, it looked like a well-loved cat, and I thought, oh my God, so adorable. I loved it and just saw it for a minute or two. Michael McLaughlin. So how was it? Tell us about when you met Jean and how that worked. Did she like lay eyes on you and go, oh my God, I totally need a guy like this?
She ran the other way.
And you chased her?
I did, yeah.
You are not afraid, are you?
I am not.
Oh,
Fortunately, I was a little quicker than she was.
yeah, because she was afraid.
Yes, very afraid.
Has she calmed down now?
A little bit.
Yeah, all right. Well, gotta be touchy. I'm sure you did the right things on Valentine's Day. Well, thank you. Love is in the air, folks, and love of mountain lions is something we could learn, I suppose. So let's get an introduction to our guest while I fool around in the background. Pay no attention.
I want to just back up a little bit to the gratitude part, if I could. We had a last minute cancellation on today's speaker, and that's always makes me very nervous. And I'm very grateful to Joe, who solved the problem and came up with Jake Harvey, who's our speaker today.
And I was lucky enough to sit across from Jake at a crab feed on Saturday, and that's why this all came about, because Jake spoke at the Noon Club and was vetted. So, and he's a heck of a crab eater. So Jake Harvey is a wildlife biologist with the Institute of Wildlife Studies and graduate student at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Broadly, Jake is interested in carnivore behavior across human-dominated landscapes. His graduate work involves analyzing mountain lion diet, space use, and energetics in California's San Francisco North Bay. Much remains unknown of mountain lions in this urban system, as the complex fragmented landscape has altered mountain lion behavior with insufficient information pertaining to local ecology and habits. Jake seeks to assist in gaining a better understanding of mountain lion ecology and inform management decisions and educate the community to promote coexistence and long-term conservation of mountain lions as well as their prey and habitats. Born and raised in a rural town in northwestern Pennsylvania, is that the same one where all the quarterbacks come from? No, because you kind of look like you could be Joe Montana's brother or something. And found a passion for the outdoors at a young age while recreating at Allegheny National Forest. Jake attended Paul Smith's College in the Adirondack Mountains in New York, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in fisheries and wildlife service. As an undergraduate, Jake worked around the country capturing and handling mountain lions, bobcats, coyotes, bears, and white-tailed deer. Following completion of his master's degree at the University of Nebraska, Jake plans on furthering and obtaining a PhD in large carnivore research. Long-term, Jake hopes to make a career in wildlife conservation, conducting and publishing research on carnivore ecology. When not on the field collecting data, Jake can be found mountain biking or playing basketball and even eating crab occasionally. Please welcome Jake Harvey.
Cool. Thanks a lot, everybody. So yeah, I am out here as a graduate student, as he mentioned, and so I work with Audubon Canyon Ranch's Living with Lions project. This project was created in 2015 by Dr. Quint Martins. And so just in general, my affiliation, as he mentioned, is pretty complicated. So I am a wildlife biologist with the Institute for Wildlife Studies. They're based out of Arcata. And so basically, they hired me to work with Audubon Canyon Ranch, which is another nonprofit. And then soon after getting here in May 2021, kind of transitioned my involvement as a graduate student. So now I'm a master's student at the University of Nebraska. And so just overall, studying mountain lions in this area is really interesting. Most of the time when you think about mountain lion research, it's untouched natural landscape, say in the Tahoe area or way north in California. But here, when you come to the San Francisco North Bay, it's a mosaic of land use. So you've got everything from rural and conserved areas to urban and suburban development. And then throughout its entirety, no matter what the land use status is, it's predominantly private lands. So a single mountain lion in this area can have 15,000 private land parcels in its home range. So there's a lot of fragmentation, human disturbance to navigate. And then just overall, it's really important to understand mountain lions anywhere they exist because they are keystone species. So the function of the ecosystem is dependent on their presence for ecosystem services. And they are an indicator of species as well. So their presence and or absence is indicative of ecosystem health in areas where they are present or should be present. And then just in general, so most of the research regarding mountain lions and large carnivores in general has been done in these undisturbed landscapes. And so there's quite an ecological gap in understanding how the role that mountain lions fill changes when there's more human disturbance on the landscape. So are they eating the same things? Are they using the same habitats? Are the same ecosystem services happening and successfully regulating the ecosystem as a whole? And so overall, just some of our project goals are to understand basic habitat use of lions. So what areas are they preferring? What areas are they specifically avoiding? And then with that, what's their diet? So how does diet compare to what it would be in those sort of undisturbed landscapes? And how does diet change as you're adding more and more humans into the equation? And then lastly, just movement patterns. Are they avoiding people more spatially, so using different areas? Are they avoiding people if people are around during the day? Are they out at night? And then just overall, a big factor in this project is education and outreach. So talking to the public, teaching a little bit about mountain lions. And then overall, all of this research in turn helps to inform land management. So with development, what are habitat corridors that should be conserved and just, conserving mountain lions in general and their prey and habitats. And so to solve these project goals, we need a lot of spatial data. And the best way to get that is through collaring mountain lions, which is not an easy task. And so the first way and best way to go about it is to collect any sort of roadkill deer or any form of carcass and take an educated guess in the woods and say, I think a mountain lion will walk past this here. And you put it there, and the mountain lion most of the time doesn't walk past it at all. So it's a lot of trial and error, a lot of striking out. So lots of bobcats, foxes, coyotes, sometimes a golden eagle every now and again. And every rare now and again, you'll get a mountain lion on it. And so once the mountain lion is feeding on a bait, they will come, and on this one picture here, they will catch it. So they're just like big house cats. When they're feeding on stuff, they're covering it, and then they'll go bed off during the daytime. And so we'll have trail cameras on these baits, and we'll know the lion is around. And then we'll come in and we'll take that deer, butcher it up, and put it in the back of a cage trap, like you can see here. And so this cage trap just has a pressure plate in the back. The lion will walk in. When it steps on the plate, the door will fall. But the work's not over there, because most of the time, a lion will approach the trap, realize that that is not how it's left its meal, and hesitant, something's going on, thinking about it, and he's out of there. So, so because of that, there's a lot of difficulties in getting these collars out. So Quinn Martin's developed a walkthrough trap. So in that trap in the previous slide, that's baited. So it's just one door open, kind of enclosed and boxy. And they walk in, step on that pressure plate and it triggers, but the walkthrough trap is open on both sides. And you strategically place it in areas that mountain lions will be walking. And it uses ultrasonic pulses and measures the height of what's walking through. So if a bobcat walks through, it won't trigger it because it measures the height of the animal inside. So it's specific to mountain lions. And they're much less weary when there's not bait involved, because when there's bait, they're realizing that it's either not how they left their meal or it's someone else's meal and they're worried that, they'll be in front of them. So when it's a walkthrough trap setup, it's rare just because it's difficult with placement, but they walk through with no hesitation, those ultrasonic pulses, and then they're trapped. So then we'll go in with a veterinarian, we'll be there, within the hour, any time of the day, and we'll immobilize the lion, take a bunch of measurements, just overall body condition stuff. And then last but not least, we'll slap a collar on. As you can see here, P16 is getting a nice tattoo in her ear. And then we'll reverse the lion and then they'll be on their way. So now, we've got a lion wearing a necklace, and what kind of happens is with these collars, we get their GPS location every 2 hours. So we can track the lion moving across the landscape, and then on every fourth fix, so every 8 hours, all those locations are sent via satellite, and we can pull them down onto the computer and we can look at them. So in 2022 as a whole, we had 12 cats on the radar, and we collected over 35,000 GPS locations of mountain lions across the North Bay. And then using it at that rate, the collars will last about 2 years. And so once you get some more lions on the radar and you have them for a longer period collared, you can start to see those patterns and you can estimate their home ranges. So in general, a male will occupy about 200 square miles. So they use a huge range. And so he'll protect and defend that 200 square miles. And within that, there'll be about 3 to 4 females that will have their own kind of mutually exclusive 50-mile squared plot. So, with or without humans, you're talking 5 or so mountain lions per 200 square miles. So they exist at very low densities just because of their social structure. And then, so bringing it more local, we've got P31 here. He's a male and he uses like Occidental, Drayton, all the way out to Sonoma Coast State Park. So he's one of the local neighbors here. So his home range is 125 square miles. And within that home range, there's 11,500 private landowner parcels that he's navigating. And so below that, you can see on this figure that his overall home range is that dark purple outline. And within that is the core area that he uses. So that area is 94 square miles and has just shy of now 9,000 private landowner parcels. And the yellow dots on this map are areas where he has eaten deer. So you can see that most of the eating happens in the core area of the range. And one of the females that he shares his home range with is P39. So she's got 3 kittens by her side right now. Her home range is 43 square miles, just under 3,000 private landowner parcels. And then her core area is only 23 square miles. With 1,000 landowner parcels. You can see the deer on that one as well. So we've got these home ranges, and one of my analyses for my graduate thesis is understanding how mountain lion home ranges change on a gradient of human disturbance. So in those more natural areas, for easy numbers, say a home range is 100 square miles. And in its simplest form, a home range represents an area from which any species, in this case mountain lions, can get what they need to survive. So food, shelter, mates, all that good stuff. And when there's no human disturbance or any fragmentation on the landscape, it's going to be the smallest area. So then you add a little bit of human disturbance, and those home ranges are actually going to, or we hypothesize that those home ranges are going to pollute and kind of encompass maybe some low density housing and a park, things like that would be still in very rural areas. And so now the home range is a little bigger for the lion to attain what it needs to survive and reproduce. And then eventually you'll keep getting more and more disturbance that the home ranges will actually, so they're increasing with the human presence on the landscape, and then they'll plummet because they'll eventually become constrained by all this disturbance, and it's just too much to balloon around. So you can see in this very simplistic graphic that, once there's all that disturbance, they can't get around it. And this really only holds true for adult males and females once they become territorial. So for youngsters, they're with their mom for about 15 to 18 months, and then they'll go out on a journey into the big real world. And for males, this is the most dangerous time of their life. So other males are territorial, and the males have to leave their mother's home range and try and find, their own home, their own way in the world. And if they encounter another adult male, it's a dangerous situation for them. So this is P36, and he was born on Taylor Mountain, just outside of Santa Rosa. And he dispersed, left his mom, and went up to kind of the area between Calistoga and Healdsburg. And he was there for like 6 to 8 months. He was there for a long time. It seemed like he was settled, making a life there. And then all of a sudden, right after Thanksgiving, he must have ran into a bigger, badder male. And you can see that he left that area and actually went all the way down to the Golden Gate Bridge National Recreation Area before realizing he can't go any further south. And he's still bouncing around Marin County trying to find his way in the world. So this next slide here kind of shows a scuffle between two mountain lions in the Monterey area. So you can see what it would be like for, P36 or some other cat if they were to run into a collared lion, or not a collared lion, just an adult territorial lion. So not pretty, pretty intense fight. And so this is actually P31, the collared male, and that's an unknown individual there. But sometimes it doesn't work out so well, and an adult male will kill other lions. And so I've located this area by a cluster, a GPS feeding cluster. So that's my day-to-day. So using this spatial data that comes from the collars, you can track these lions moving across the landscape. And then all of a sudden, those GPS points will be coming from the same place, like you can see right there. And odds are the lion is feeding in those locations. So this is a really neat one to look at. When lions feed, they'll have a feeding bed, and then during the day, they'll go lay off in a day bed. So it almost looks like there's two clusters there, but there's only a meal at one of them. So I've been to over 500 of these kill clusters now. And in 2022, about 70% of the overall lion diet was deer. And second on the list was livestock at 17%, and then it drops significantly below that, just in miscellaneous things like wild boar. And then interestingly, with the deer kills, you can see that, so this is the number of kills located per month by fawns and adult deer. And you can see that finding fawns peaks in May and June, which is right during the fawning season, and then it drops off, and then the number of adult deer found in clusters shoots right up and peaks in around like September, October, which is right during the rut. So looking at this kill cluster, for example, these big adult bucks and even females during the rut are careless, and they're running ragged, and they're trying to find mates. So the lions take advantage of that. And you can see that when an individual is eating a large buck like that, they're there for a while. That's a couple meals. And then conversely, during the spring, when they're feeding on fawn, it's just a smaller cluster. They're there for a night or two and then on their way. And so I'll, talk to the landowners, hike into these locations, and, I'll find the clusters just like in these pictures. And then I'll start taking data. And one of the things that I take note of is the bone marrow and the femurs. So bone marrow is the last place that you lose fat before you die of malnutrition. So examining the bone marrow of these prey species is just a proxy for overall health and nutritional condition of the prey. So basically are mountain lions kind of picking off the weak link and eating deer that aren't doing too well and may die anyways, or are they just opportunistically taking whatever is available on the landscape? So this first picture is the bone marrow where it's white and waxy, and that's a really healthy deer. That's a lot of fat content in that marrow. And then this one is really red and gelatinous and gross, and that is not so healthy. And we don't know yet. I haven't analyzed all the data to see what the trends are looking like, but I would think that they're taking more weaker individuals. And so overall, when you think about lions and feeding in these more urban areas, you would think of just the human disturbance to be strictly negative and have no potential positive benefits for the lions. But as you'll see in this next slide, we have seen some interesting, a lot of times these lions will use fencing and other boundaries to increase their hunting success and actually corner the deer. So this is a video of a deer running a lion into a fence, or running a deer into a fence. And you can actually, you won't be able to hear the fence tame, but so he runs it right up against the fence and feeds on it there. So that's just an interesting note that, you know, they, even though these urban systems aren't ideal for them, they're able to carve out a living and take advantage of some of the human infrastructure on the landscape. And so just like how I am analyzing the home ranges and how those change along the gradient of human disturbance, I'm also analyzing diet in the same way. So just like that first home range, when you're in a natural area with no human disturbance on the landscape, they're selecting mostly deer in the diet. You know, so that's their preferred prey. That's what's at the highest availability. So this is just a graph showing as human disturbance increases, dietary breadth increases. So the number of different prey species that they're consuming. So with little human disturbance, they're eating a very high proportion of deer. And then you add a little more human disturbance on the landscape, and they'll be encountering more things like livestock, goats and sheep, and then, you know, increasing with that human disturbance, you're getting more and more skunks and raccoons and possums. So when it's all said and done,
Bikers. And he gets a bunch,
everywhere across the gradient, there is deer present, but the selection of that will change. So just overall, you know, it is really important to understand what these lions are up to, where they're feeding, what they're feeding on, what they're doing. Without understanding that, we can't understand their ecological role in human-dominated landscapes, and then we can't serve for them properly. So, yeah, I mean, they're doing their thing, hiding under the radar. Yeah, we're just working to coexist with them. So. Happy to answer any questions. Yes.
What size are they?
So a male in this area about 120 pounds, and then a female 80-ish pounds.
And then I have a follow-up. We just bought a property in Occidental.
Okay.
And there was a dead deer out there one day. So we buried it. We came back a couple of days later and it had been dug up. Would it have been a mountain lion or what?
So it could have, they usually wouldn't dig. So the main indicator, if a lion makes a kill, they're always going to drag it, you know, into a drainage somewhere thick. It's very rare to encounter something that a mountain lion's feeding on. And if you were to, you know, when they're feeding, the first thing that they're going to eat is the organs. So they'll go through in the stomach. And conversely, like coyotes or things like that, you know, they'll feed more in the open and they'll start kind of at the hind end and eat it that way. So you kind of judge by the feeding patterns some, you know, but it could have been, who knows? Yes.
Is the population increasing or decreasing?
So it's not, you know, it's after the hunting and everything was banned in 1990, it increased from there because there were bounties and the population was just at critically low levels. But now they're pretty much maintained, because of that social structure that I mentioned, where there's like 5 per 200 square miles. They're not like a species that'll overpopulate by any means. So they're just doing their thing, but because they use such a large area, they're kind of inherently always at risk. So they're fine, but develop the wrong habitat corridor or use habitat. Sure, but mix in, like a raccoon here and there, just the other prey items that they're consuming. Yeah.
So, are the collars unsafe and that, is there any potential for them to get snagged as they're moving through brush and
No, so
fighting and so forth?
all of the collar deployments and the collars that we use are all approved through committees with veterinarians and everything. So we're not allowed to collar them until they reach certain weight thresholds. Just to be sure that the collar weight isn't impeding their movement and just their daily life. And, they're not tight in that they're like choking on them, but they're close enough to the skin that, just by a lion moving and keeping stuff out of its face, nothing will snag on the collar. So there's very little risk there.
Jake? Hi.
Yes.
I've always known Audubon Canyon Ranch as the heron rookery and the great blue herons and the egrets, and they left and they went into Bolinas Lagoon. I didn't realize that they were doing all different kinds of biology as well.
Yeah, so they've got like the Cypress Grove and that station out at Stinson Beach and everything. So they do a lot of bird work. They're pretty central around bird work and their Fire Forward prescribed burn program. But they do have this Living with Lions project, which is in part with Quentin's company, True Wild. So it's a newer sector comparatively, but so the office for that is located at the Boobery Preserve on Highway 12, right by Arnold Drive to go into Glen Ellen there. So that's where.
And one other question, are you working with Sonoma Land Trust in terms of their wildlife corridor they're trying to establish at the Sonoma Developmental Center?
So, yeah. Quentin is in touch with folks from there. I've been in touch with folks just regarding property access, on land trust property. I myself haven't worked super close from like a data sharing point of view, but it's something that as analyses come along that there could be closer partnerships there for sure.
I'll pass that on.
Yes.
I think we're gonna need to call it because of time.
Okay, I'm happy to answer any questions.
You hit your hand up a million times and I didn't see it. Oh, Christ. Everybody's gotta stay late.
Just they recently had a story on one of the local news stations that 280 from just south of San Mateo was one of the most deadly highways for mountain lions in the state. And it was something like 30 kills over 10 years. What's the most dangerous road for mountain lions around here?
So around here, roadkill is not a huge form of mortality, comparatively to like the LA system where you've got the 405 and 101. We have had some roadkill mortalities, but they most of the time they've just been bad luck scenarios, like some backcountry road that may not even have painted lines on it, where lions can safely cross most of the time, but individuals have just picked a bad time to cross. And we did have P37, a male this past August die on 101. So 101 would be the most significant road that would pose danger, but because it's most significant, lions just most of the time don't try to cross it. So they're all dangerous. If they reach a threshold where they're so big, they will opt to not cross over anything.
Thank you, Jake.
Can I say what, David, can I say one thing? There was a mountain lion that was struck.
Rogers, what are you saying?
There was a mountain lion struck on Bodega Avenue years ago, and I felt so bad. It was on the road, so I stopped my car and picked it up by the scruff of its neck like a cat. It was as tall as me, and I walked into the bush and curled it into like a round circle to give it dignity. And I can't believe I did it, and I still can't believe I did it, and I'll never forget it. That's all.
Wow, that's an experience. So, thank you all for being here. Jake, that was fabulous. How wonderful of you to come here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to answer any more questions, whenever. There's contact details.
If you can hang in for a little bit, I'll bet there are people that have got questions. We would like to present you with a mug so you will always remember when you came here so early in the morning.
Thank
you. All of that effort, and this is what you get. How cool was that? Thank you again. That was lovely. And when you go out on Monday morning hikes, don't go alone. So, rather than switch over and take more time, Jerry, you got a joke for us?
Brian, couple of very quick questions. You guys, Star Party people, how does NASA organize the party?
How does NASA organize a party?
They plan it. And PJ, you go out to the ocean a lot. What did one ocean say to the other?
It didn't say anything, it just waved.
Oh, you got that one. Okay, well, here's one for David Mark Raymond. He should know this one. What's the opposite of artificial intelligence? Natural stupidity.
I'm not feeling so good right now. I'm gonna go get a little counseling. Thanks a lot, Sherry. We really appreciate your jokes and your sense of humor. So let's do a drawing. Wait, no, that's not the right song.
And also, David, Saturday, it's 9 AM. Not 9:30.
Hi, Scotty. I can see the numbers, but I don't know what they are. The last four are 3, 8, 9, 8. There it is. There we go. Good luck to you, Marty. That's disqualified. Oh. Okay, so do not forget to stop and talk to Wayne on your way out and get yourself some beautiful marigolds and support a good cause. Those are daffodils, aren't they? Oh, well. So thank you all for being here. Let's end with a song. Is that what we do? And I'll ring the bell.
No happy trails?